What's going on, everyone? My name is Aaron, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I turn my goalie pads from this to looking like this. I cleaned them first, of course, and then I used Padskins. So let's start with taking a look at these goalie pads, how they were before. I got these Sub-Zeros from Brian's in maybe 2012. And since then, I've really never cleaned the puck marks off. Always loved the war paint. They've been quite dirty as well. I took amazing care of them though. And so now this is how they look. So first thing I want to do, just because if I'm going to clean them, might as well have them start fresh. I took a bathtub, filled it up with some warm water, some OxyClean, dissolved that into that water, and then I let these pads soak. I let them soak for a few hours each, flipping them over occasionally, kind of putting them under the water, flipping them over all the time. And the water got pretty gross. Now the water I have in my house, it's a well, so it gets pretty gross anyways. Like, it's kind of has a yellowish tinge, so don't think this is all from the pads, but it did get really dark. So basically soaked them in there, pushed them in, pulled them out, and I cleaned the water once in between with OxyClean. So just wanted to give them a little bit of a clean before I started taking off the puck marks. Let them hang dry. I put a dehumidifier and I constantly just kind of pour it out. I let it dry overnight in the dehumidifier just so it kind of starts back fresh. In terms of the puck marks, I use something called Nash Puck Out. So it's a product I found at one of those goalie stores. And I didn't take any footage of me scrubbing the puck marks out, but it's really simple. Essentially what you do is you like spray on this like kind of cleaning material, and then you go back and forth lightly with this kind of puck that had like this abrasive side. And then you finish it off with like a magic eraser. Now I did that mostly to start it off, and then I started using magic eraser to get the kind of rest of it. I didn't scrub too hard. I didn't care about getting completely clean. Just wanted to look kind of more clean so that when I put the blue Padskins, they would look really nice. And so you can tell from this kind of before and after, you have one pad with the puck marks, one pad without. I did a pretty good job. Again, I wasn't trying to get it all off, just wanted to mainly get most of them off so that it'll look nice with the new colors. You can see here with the blocker, with and without the kind of major puck marks. I didn't want to scrub too hard with the magic eraser. I didn't want it to damage the material. So I went pretty light, went pretty easy. This is what the glove looks like. Okay, in terms of materials, what I used, I had a couple of different X-Acto knives. This one was like a circular one. This one was just like kind of a straight blade. I did get some painter's tape. I got a pencil, a ruler, and this little grid pattern thing you can see there. That mat is like a cutting board kind of thing. I bought two of these small Padskins, but I actually only ended up using one. So you can make one stretch for a whole set if you're pretty good and not wasting too much material. So the best process that I found online, and I think it's even in the instructions now for Padskins, is you put painter tape on top, you sketch out the design, and you put it on the Padskins material. And then as I'm starting this, the strategy I use and I would suggest is start with like the glove and blocker, start with like the small pieces, because you'll get better at it as you go. And so the big pieces on the pads will get really, really tough. And so once you have a lot of practice with it, I find those will be easier to do. So I start with the little small stuff. It's always better, of course, to cut bigger and then have to shave it down as you go versus having it too small and having to restart. So that's something that I found I was doing all the time. And for the pieces of the pad, like this part that I'm working on right here, that have a kind of like a leather seam that goes around it. You want it to, I traced on the outer seam, and then I just kind of cut slightly inside of it so that when I applied it on there, I can actually tuck the seam on top of the pad, which on top of the Padskins, which really made it look kind of factory, which is really good. So would recommend that. And here I'm just doing the kind of finer details with the different times. I'm putting on there first to see how it looks, took off the tape, and then of course you stick it on there. And once you apply the Padskins on there, obviously, of course, press firmly, get all those air bubbles out, and then that's when I'll hit it with the hair dryer. So the hair dryer or heat gun, this is just gonna give that adhesive. It's gonna warm it up a little bit, make it stick a little bit better. That's what I think. So that's what I did. So you can see here with the blocker, I had a wrap around on the top there. It looked really nice, looked pretty sweet, especially now with the clean, mostly removed puck marks. It looks really nice together. So after the blocker, started moving on to the glove. Pro tip, I would set a lot of time aside to do this. It is quite labor intensive, so definitely if you got time. I think this took me like 6 hours, just like straight cutting and applying. Never mind the cleaning to prep it. This is what the glove turned out in the end. Okay, now moving on to the pads. Now these are the big ones. Again, start with the kind of smaller pieces. I ended with the big pieces because I'm like, this is the finale. So the smaller pieces, even though they're quite large from what I'm doing, is something I'd recommend just to make it a little bit, you work your way up. The process that I did was once I cut it out, of course, I'd look on there, see if I had to shave anything down. I want it to be slightly bigger than the kind of seam, but of course smaller so I can tuck it in. The tucking was the hard part. So I used a flathead screwdriver, you can see here, and I just went back and forth and kind of lightly I put the adhesive on, and then I just tried to like kind of pull that seam out and then stick that adhesive on there so it can kind of be underneath. Very, very labor intensive, I will say. It's quite annoying. This is 8 times the speed, so I'm sitting there doing it for a long time. It's a lot harder, I'd also say, to cut the piece when it's adhesive and it's on the pad. I would rather try to fit it on first with the adhesive kind of sticker on it still so that it's not sticky. That way you can still trim it. If it's too big and it's on the pad and it's adhesive, to cut it on the pad, you gotta be really careful, and the stickiness kind of goes everywhere and it gets all sticky. So just watch out for that. Now you can see me, I'm attempting the biggest piece here. This piece was really tough. I had to do it twice, of course, one for each pad. For that top, I saw there was a lot of space underneath that like seam, so I went a little extra and I was able to tuck it. So you can see I took off the tape, applied it onto here, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut it out. Out of all the different knives I had, like the Rolly one, the flat edge, the flat edge worked the best. So just freehand flat, get it on the pencil markings. You can always shave it down later. So that's what I found worked the best for me. That's why I say start with the small stuff so you can kind of build your way up. Once it's out, I'm doing my fit test, see where I need to shave anything off. I split it up a little bit where there's some seams there. I did actually take out the, what are they called? The lacing. So like the lacing that's kind of like holding the pads together. If the Padskins went on top of that, I just made one little line like just carefully above where that lace would go so that I can kind of push the laces on both sides, like the Padskin on both sides, and tuck it under that lace. I didn't get any close-up films of me doing that, but that was the kind of last step I did to make it look a little bit more factory. And it's okay to peel it off and put it back down. Don't use any of the hair dryers until you're ready to lock it in. That's what I found too. The hair dryer adhesive stuff will make it really like set. So just make sure you do that after, not during. So here I'm just tucking it in so I can get it all underneath, protect it a little bit more. Made a little bit extra of a cut there, tucked it in as well. Very long process, very tedious. Play some music, play a podcast, find something to do, but this will take a long time if you do it right, the way I like to do it. Okay, and that is the leg pad. So you can see how it looks. Make sure when you put any of these graphics on the Padskins, they're not on any parts that are gonna touch the ice. So you can see this is the final set, what it looks like. The glove, the blocker, the pads, they look fantastic. I have to say, especially with now the clean pads, like taking out the puck marks, these new Padskins, they kind of blend together. If you would have left the puck marks on, I think it would have looked a little funky. So I'm really glad that the way they came out. This is a little bit closer, you can see the different seams. It's not perfect. Up close, you're gonna see some mistakes, I'm sure, but no one's really watching. At the end of the day, from a couple feet away, it looks beautiful, and I'm really proud with all the work, time, and effort. And you can see here the little details I had with the lacing, just kind of cutting it out, tucking the excess in there. On the sides I did too, which I thought was really cool, so you can see on the bottom. The blocker looking good. I really enjoyed the blocker, the glove, how they looked. I did try to do the B-star, but it didn't end up looking as cool, so I kept it white. It looked better. Here's the glove. Just a quick before, show you where we were beforehand, before cleaning. And here's the after. Everything completed. These pads look brand new. Again, they're bought in 2012. It's 2025. So if you take care of your pads, they'll go a long distance. But this is really cool to really give them a refresh. Back to how they should be, right? So really custom as well. I love it. All right, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.